this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I am bringing you another project recipe in this video. This is our Moments collection, and this is the project recipe that was designed to go along with that collection. It's a fairly simplified one, but I am going to give you some options of things that you can do punch-wise for this border right here. In case you don't have the cartridge that the project recipe calls for, you could use something else that you have in your arsenal if you choose to. So we're going to talk about that when we get that far. But I also had someone comment on my video and suggest that it would be good to show the sketch. So I just want you to realize that this is the sketch. This is the sketch right here. And so if you want to see that, it's right here. If there are measurements for each of the photos that are here, and I'll be giving you the measurements as we go along for our cutting guide, which is our next page right here. So if that's all you want to see, then you're welcome to go ahead and take a look at it. But otherwise, I'm going to be walking you through it here just shortly. You're going to need at least 4 pieces of paper, possibly 5, depending on what you choose to do. If you want to use this collection, I'll show you the pages that I am using that are directly from this collection, and we will be using some stickers and some embellishments. So you'll want to have those available. And if you're going to be choosing from another collection, because as we know, our project recipes can be used with just about any collection that we have, and sometimes they turn out really, really cool when you use a different collection. So just keep in mind that you are going to need 1 piece of cardstock. They choose black cardstock, I think, because it goes with many of the pieces from this collection. So you could use any color cardstock that matches the papers you're using. I'm going to use these 2 sheets from the collection as my base, and so we're going to be using the dark side that's on here because it will set off the color in the photographs that are placed on these pages really, really nicely. And so we're going to use these as our base pages, and I'm going to just set those aside real quick because we're not going to need those for a minute. And then this is going to be my designer sheet number 1, and this page right here with the kind of superimposed images of postcards on it is going to be my base sheet or designer sheet number 2. So let's get our trimmer out and we'll do some cutting and get this going really quick. This design is not a difficult one, so you should be able to put this one together pretty swiftly. First, we're going to cut some mats from our black paper, our black cardstock, and we're going to cut those at 3.5 by 5.5, and then we're going to have 2 4x4s. So first, we're going to do 3.5. We're going to set the edge of our paper right here on the graph on our page at 3.5. Close the arm, push down and slide, and then we're going to turn our cardstock and we're going to cut at 5.5. 5.5 is the very edge of your trimmer here, so that you cannot see an actual mark for it, but just know that it is the edge of your trimmer when the arm is closed, and that is your perfect 5.5 measure. All right, so here's our 2 5.5-inch mats, and then we're going to have 2 4x4 squares. So we're going to put the edge of our paper over here to the 4-inch mark. Close our arm, push down and slide. And we're going to turn that. And if I'm going too fast, just pause the video. So we're going to do a 4-inch square and another 4-inch square. That will leave us with a third 4-inch square that we can use on another layout. So we're not going to be using that one in this, at least I don't think so. The design does not call for it. We'll see if maybe I decide that I need it. I like to put a lot of photos on my pages. So you should be left with 4.5 inches of your cardstock page, and you're going to turn that, and we want to cut this one into a 6.5 inch frame. So you will need to move your arm out as you just saw me do, and then put the edge of your paper at 6.5 up here and trim that. Okay, so those are the mats that we're going to use. 2 at 3.5 by 5.5, 2 at 4 by 4, and 1 at 4.5 by 6.5. All right, now we're going to use this really pretty berry rose paper that we have, and we're going to take a look at it because this paper is actually directional. I don't know if you can see that pattern, but our flowers are mainly going up in one direction. So I want to make sure my flowers are growing up the page rather than getting cut off growing horizontally. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this with my flowers going vertically this way, and I need 2 strips that are each 3 inches. So we're going to set that edge right at 3 inches. And we're going to cut one piece, move it over, and cut another piece. Make sure when you're cutting that your edge of your paper is flush on the bumper up here, and you can see whether it's straight on this side by following your grid line, and that will let you know if you've maybe have it just a hair cockeyed. Okay, so then we need 3 6 by 4 mats, and this paper, if I was to move my arm out, because we just cut 6 inches off of it, this paper is 6 inches wide now. So we only need to cut these at 4 inches so that we have 3 mats that are 6 by 4. So here's one mat, placing it on the 4 line, making sure my paper is flush on the bumper in front. 2 cuts gives us 3 4 by 6 mats. All right, now we're going to grab our second piece of designer paper, and this one we're going to cut in half. So we're going to swing our arm out, move our paper so that it is, so we can cut it 6 inches. And I'm just checking my paper to see if there is a right or a wrong way to do this. But I think I like more of this on a vertical plane, and because these pages are, sorry, I need to calm down and slow down. These pieces are going to be horizontal on our page. They're going to be horizontal. So I want to be able to read it this way or like this. So I'm going to cut it so that when I place these 6 inch pieces horizontally, the words can be read most easily like this. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change our blade. What you need is your scoring blade for this part. So I'm going to pull out my orange scoring blade and set my straight blade to the side. We're just going to pop that into the housing. And we're going to take each of these pieces and decide which side we want. I'm going to be scoring this edge of this paper and this edge of this paper. So we'll start with this one. And let me just double check the measurement, but I believe we are scoring it at 1.5. Let me just double check. Yes, we're scoring it at 1.5 inches, which means we can measure on the right side of our trimmer because this measures out to 1 3/4. So I'm going to move my paper out to 1.5, not 1 3/4. So it's the mark, just one grid line before the edge on the right hand side of my trimmer. And I'm going to make sure my paper is flush to the top. I'm going to use this scoring blade to just dent my paper to make it easier to fold. Now, something that you should know about your scoring blade before you use it, if you push too hard with a designer piece of paper in here, you will sever the paper. You will cut it instead of just denting it or scoring it. So be very careful that you're not applying too much pressure. You do want to apply some pressure, but not too much pressure. And you probably don't want to go back and forth a lot. So just one pass with medium pressure should be plenty to put that dent in the paper. Can you see that dent in the paper there? Okay. At 1.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this side of this paper because I want this edge to be the one that folds in. So medium pressure, one pass. And I have a perfect score on my paper. If you're going to be trying to score I beg your pardon, you know what? I just scored the wrong side of my paper. That's what I get for, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. I did it okay. If you're going to be scoring cardstock or something like that, then you are going to need to apply a lot more pressure. Sometimes, depending on the weight of your cardstock, you can still sever or cut the cardstock instead of denting it or scoring it. So you do want to be careful when using this scoring blade, but it is a great tool for making accurate folding much easier if you are careful. Okay, so that is our last thing we're going to do with our trimmer. You can set that aside. Now we're going to take these two pieces that we have scored and go ahead and turn them so that you have both of the edges that you've scored heading the same direction. So this edge is scored on this page and this edge is scored on this page. And almost as if we had not ever severed the paper, we're going to place them into our border maker. Now, we could have done this part, done the punching, before we cut the page. Of course, if you're more comfortable doing that, do that. But you can also do it like this. You also could do one piece at a time. I just feel like because I'm punching a whole border and I'm punching a whole sheet, I'm going to put both of my sheets in here. So you saw that this is one half, this is the other half. They're both in locked in, and I'm going to go ahead and fold this back and just punch through. I'm using the Flourish and Vine Border Maker cartridge, which hopefully that makes it a little easier for you to see. The Flourish and Vine Border Maker cartridge is currently sold out, but it will be coming available again in September. So if you really like this one, I do encourage you to get it. It is very pretty, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. But if you don't have this one, if you didn't get it before it sold out, then you could use any other cartridge that you have that is an attached cartridge. What I mean by that is, for instance, let me give you an example of what an unattached cartridge is. All right, so here is an unattached cartridge. When you punch this out, it completely separates from your page. But when we punch this out, it stays attached to the edge. So that's the difference. And if you have another design that you like, you could certainly do that on this edge. Like this is our bridge cartridge, and that one would be really pretty on the edge, especially for something like Halloween. This one is an older one, the scallop dot, and it is attached, and that would make a really pretty edge. This one, the chevron arrows, This is a recent one. This one stays attached and it would be really nice on the edge depending on what you've got. Or starry would also be really nice, a good edge. So just some ideas to give you for variation on this particular one. So we're gonna go ahead and punch this border, and you'll notice you get 3 of these pretty little designs on the edge of each half of the sheet. So get rid of my punch confetti. One second. Put that right into my trash can. All right, I'll take this off and set that aside. Okay, now we're going to fold this edge. So depending on which side you want to show most on your paper, you would fold this edge accordingly. You can either fold it, I can fold it in like this, or I can fold it the other direction like this. I think I like it this way. And so we're going to do the same thing to this side. Fold that over. And we're going to get our repositionable adhesive and just adhere that down very carefully. Because we are using repositionable adhesive, we can go ahead and fold that over. Oh dear, I think I tore my design. Be careful. I was not careful enough, and that tore right off as I was running my adhesive over. So don't do that. I wasn't expecting it to do that. Okay. Adhesive just grabbed right onto it. So I'm going to be more careful when I put it on this side, just so that I don't tear that delicate design. All right, there we go. And I would recommend, I didn't choose this paper because I've used this paper for other projects, and so I did not have the choice available to me. But I would recommend that you choose for this particular piece, that you choose something with more what's the word? More difference in it, so you get more dimension and you can see this design better. You'll see how this color and the color on the back of this sheet are very similar, so it's very hard. It's harder to see that pretty design through there, but if the purple was underneath it, you would be able to see the design much better. So just a thought I'm having as I'm putting this together for you. Okay, so we're going to just lay this out with all of our pieces and our mats. So we've got our base sheets. We're going to go ahead and remove these mats so we can see this better. So we've got our base sheets right next to one another. We've got the purple flowers going up each side. Just like so. All right, then we've got these pieces which are going to go next to each other in the center. Let me take a look at our final product here real quick. Yeah, so those go probably about 1 inch from your top edge, roughly. Okay. And then we're going to have our mats be our kind of our final piece of this. And one goes here, one goes here, a square mat goes here, and a square mat goes here, Then we've got the largest black mat is going to go up here, and the two smaller black mats are going to go over here to the side. Okay, so this is the way that the layout is done, and you could certainly do it this way. However, if you have more vertical photos, you do have this third mat in the purpley colored paper, which you could certainly add in right here, or you could rearrange these for a little more balance. Then you kind of lose the mat because it blends into this, so maybe that's not the best idea. Maybe the best idea, or a better idea, would be to use this black mat and put it a little higher here, and put the purple one just a little bit lower here, if you want that additional photo on your page. So it just all depends on how many pages, how many pictures. Wow, I'm having a hard time talking. Okay, on how many pictures you want to add to this. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just omit this additional mat, but you can see how you could add it in there, and then you'd be able to get 8 pictures on this 2-page layout. Let's go ahead and adhere our pieces, and then we'll decide what we're doing for sure. Okay, so first thing we need to do is go ahead and add these to the outer edges, these strips. I am sorry that I keep saying the wrong things and my brain is going different directions than my mouth. I was on vacation until Friday and in a very different time zone, not just an hour or two. We were 4 hours different than where I currently live, and I don't know, for some reason my body's just having a really hard time adjusting, not to being home necessarily, but just to being in a different time zone. I couldn't sleep on the plane the whole way home, and it was quite a long flight and in the middle of the night, and it's just kind of messed me up. All right. Now we'll get this put on. So we're going to go roughly 1 inch from the top edge. And I'm going to put my pages together here so that I can make sure that these portions of the layout match and are at the same height on each page. So the measurement from the top edge of your paper to the top edge of this piece is not all that important as long as they match when you look at them together. And we're going to do the same thing with our mats that are going to go down here at the bottom. And again, if you've watched my videos before, then you know that I tend to just put some repositionable adhesive right in the center of my mat when I put these on, when I'm doing a layout that I'm not certain what I'm going to use it for just yet, which way my pictures are going to go. That way I can easily just pop this mat off the page and turn it so it's vertical if I need to, and rearrange my mats and the design of where my photos are located. That way I can do that fairly easily if they're not permanently on here. Okay, and when I do go to put photos on, I will make sure, of course, to use permanent adhesive so that they are definitely adhered to my page. Okay. You'll notice I'm just putting about 1/8 of an inch between these photos at the bottom, which keeps it uniform. So there's 1 inch between here and 1 inch across the top, and only 1/8 of an inch between the photos here. All right, now we're going to go ahead and adhere these mats, and then we're going to do some embellishing real quick. And the embellishing we're going to do is designed to go right along with our with the layout. It's kind of customized to the layout, so you'll see what I mean in just a second. So I'm just centering this from the top to the bottom of the gray printed paper, and then aligning this left edge with my lower mat. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the same distance between these two photographs as I have between these two photographs at the bottom. This one, because it's so much larger, you could center it, or in our case, we're going to go ahead and line up the left edge so that it's in line with the edge of this lower mat, and the same distance as this photo is from the edge or the center of our layout. And then we're going to be putting an embellishment over here. That's why I went ahead and kept it more towards the center. All right, so if you have stickers that match your collection, or if you have this collection, the Our Moments collection, go ahead and pull the stickers out that go along with it. We're going to use some border strips along with our cool stickers, and just to see if maybe we might want to use one of these laser embellishments, let's go ahead and open these up and see what they look like. And we'll get these out too, just to see what we have to work with. See if there's something else exciting that might be fun. All right, that's too much. That's not what we're looking for. I'm looking for something that can go on this edge right here, this edge. Okay, so most of these are a bit too large for what I'm looking for, or they don't have a solid center. So this one with the flowers could work up the side. That might be an interesting one. Or we could do this one with the scroll. That's kind of cool looking. These are different colored on the other side, so something to keep in mind if you're looking for a different type of accent. Let's see. That would definitely show up better if it was on that side. Or we could use a sticker. These stickers here are solid, so we could definitely use that down the side. That would be pretty, very kind of delicate. We could use the gray, although we don't really have a lot that's matching that. I'm thinking that I kind of like this, the laser border, this laser border. Okay, so we're going to cut this at 6 inches so that we can put some on either side of the page. So let me grab this. Should be pretty easy, but you can measure it. I'm just going to measure it really quick just to make sure that I've got my full 6 inches. Okay. And we've got one for this side and one for this side. Okay. And let's see what we've got here. We've got some flowers. Maybe since we've got that color introduced, we should do something in that same color. We could certainly do those. We could do the tree. So any of those would actually probably work nicely. Let me go ahead and adhere these down before I forget that I didn't do that, and then they slip. Okay, so we're just going to, I'm going to put the center of this design down the edge of my paper. So that the design that I can see the purple through stays consistent, and the design that I can see the gray through stays consistent. So it's not crooked. And I'm going to keep it the same on this side so that so it's even and looks uniform from one side to the other of our layout. All right, so there's that. Now we're going to create a couple of clusters real quick. And we've got these leaves, which would be nice. We've got these leaves that would be nice. I'm not going to use the yellow ones because there's no yellow in this design, but there are, if you chose the papers that have that coloring in it, then you might want to use those. Let's see. Always remember the past. Our moments. This collection is very much designed so that it would work well in a vintage scrapbook, or in a scrapbook with black and white photos. I think it would look really nice in this. So we're going to use a walk down memory lane, I think. And then we're going to use I'm going to use these leaves right here. We'll use both of those. We'll use one on each side. So we're going to use a walk down memory lane, and we're going to use let's do This Is Us. I use This Is Us in the example. Not that that means that we need to use it now, but it's a nice focal point for this side because it's kind of gives you a bit of a title, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and add my leaves about here, and then I'm going to pop this one up with some foam squares. So let's grab some foam squares. This is the new acrylic boxes that CM just brought out. Really, really handy. You can see they hold a lot. I've got my photo tape in here, some embellishments that had lost their way, and my foam squares, my tape chips, just all kinds of stuff fit in that. So it's really nice. Okay, so this one's going to go on this side with those leaves. We're going to add some of our larger foam squares to This Is Us. Very quickly. And that'll go down right there, just barely touching the photo. And then let's add a little bit of color to that. If I can find something that will add, bring in some of the gray. I can use this heart right here. We'll pop that up with a foam square too. So just kind of put that off to the side. This is us. And then over here on this side, we've got I'm going to put my leaves approximately the same height on both sides. And we're not going to use these, so I'm just going to set these aside over here so that I can have a better look at what I'm developing here. Do you ever get your foam square just not down in the right place? And these are super sticky, so if you set it down in the wrong place, it can be kind of daunting to pick it up and move it. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so there's A Walk Down Memory Lane. And then we need something additional over there as well. Let's try maybe just a heart. Since we have a heart on the other side, we'll add a heart to this side. Really simple, but we don't want to draw attention away from our photos. In an album like this, you really want the attention to be on the photos, not on your embellishments. So the embellishments are just there to kind of finish it, make it look complete. All right, so that is our page. And again, this project recipe is not a super fancy one, but it is really quick, and you can get a number of photos on here. Like we talked about earlier, you can add, rearrange, turn, the mats however it's convenient for you. You could even probably turn these pages and make it work if you really wanted to. Before you put your embellishments on, you could turn it and make your design go a different direction. Or you could turn both of them maybe and do something like that. That would be kind of cool, I think. And then of course you turn your embellishments, your stickers, not these. I would leave these the way they are. All right. I hope that has inspired you in some way, and you can utilize this with either with this beautiful collection, the Our Moments collection, or with another collection that you have in your stash. And because it's always good to use your stash. But if you would like to purchase this collection, it is still in our line. It did come out this year in 2022. So feel free to go ahead and go to my website. Otherwise, I wish you many more creative moments and hope you have a great day.